is that we give you reach. But either you have tested a market, you want to start the operations. So in a regular environment, for example, I'm a startup in India, and I'm looking at Australian market to scale. First of all, do I know how Australian market react to my product? Even knowing that, you need to invest in people, you need to invest in your partners, you need to invest in your taxation and operations, which is at least 6 months and $50,000 of investment to do your first deal. The beauty of AWS Marketplace is that you have a great product, create an offer through Marketplace for that customer in Australia, for that customer in Brazil, for that customer everywhere across the world. And by just one click, that customer accepts the offer, and then it becomes AWS responsibility to collect that payment and put it in your bank account. So just look at it, because another thing, a startup, if you go to a customer, every customer knows they would negotiate hard with you. What they would negotiate with would be with, okay, you're a startup, I know you're in need for my business, give me 90-day credit period. And you have to do it. Even if they tell you they'll pay you in 45, 50 days, there would be delays. But for you, cash is important. Because you are selling through AWS Marketplace and AWS is collecting that payment, we usually have our credit terms 95% of the time 30 days. So you get, the moment we collect the payment, we give it to you. So that's the operational part. The GTM part is that for every dollar you sell on AWS Marketplace, if I am the account manager at AWS for that account, AWS pays me quota relief and commission on those deals. So end of the day, you have somebody within AWS who gonna support you in doing your deals and making that deal at the right time, at the right amount, and you would get a lot of support from AWS. You can, if you go up, not on the day one, but if you do a lot of traction with AWS, make sure that AWS, you're aligned with AWS. I know it's a frustrating process, 6 to 8 months, but what you would see is you're co-selling with AWS, hand in hand. Like for example, like there's a very great example I have for one of the organizations. They had an amazing product, and one of the telecom companies were using that. They were not getting an entry to another telecom company which they wanted to. They came to AWS, discussed with us, had an account plan with us, and because we already have connects within that organization, we've got that startup with us, they spoke about it and they closed a deal there. So you actually can leverage the AWS relationship, you can leverage the AWS brand to enter within accounts, within regions, test your regions out, and would do your. The only point is that whenever you talk AWS Marketplace, and I'm very transparent and very blunt, again, from day one, it's not a lead generation engine. Because most of the people think, tomorrow I'll put my product on Marketplace, on the same day I'll start getting leads and opportunities. Software business doesn't work that way. You have to convince the customer, you have to convince about your solution, and then only it sells. And another important thing which I missed out is customer. Why customer buys from Marketplace? When you go, certain AWS customers would tell you, can you sell through Marketplace? Are you available on Marketplace? The biggest reason for any customer to buy from Marketplace is we give them quota retirement benefit. What does that mean is we sign deals as EDP or PPAs. That means somebody is committing to us, for example, $1 million. They use it or they don't use it, they have to pay AWS $1 million for that year, for example. In that $1 million, they can buy anything worth $250K, which is 25%, and can retire their quota. So end of the day, you would have heard a lot. A customer says, I don't have a budget for this right now. But if they have a construct with AWS for the EDP, they have that 25% which they can spend on you. So that's the beauty of AWS, where even our customers benefit on their commitments when they buy from Marketplace. So this is in a nutshell what Marketplace is all about. Yeah.
Hi, so my name is Ankur. I'm part of the business development team. To add on to what Faraz is telling you guys, so the essence is extremely simple. So today, if you are a startup in India and you have a product or a service which is up and running and you want to serve a global audience, the major problem that you would have is that you would need to have a sales team in place in different geographies to get access to customers and everything, right? But in case you put it on the marketplace, there is absolutely no need for you to go ahead and have some kind of sales motion in that particular region. What you can do is you can collaborate with AWS account managers of sorts for targeted attack on the accounts that you want to do. Speak to those particular account managers who are based out of India or anywhere else. Reach out to them. For us or me, we can facilitate that particular conversation. Once you speak to them, and once it's listed on the marketplace, it's actually global in nature. People can go ahead, you can serve your folks sitting here itself, right? So you can show a demo right here sitting remotely in India. You can showcase a POC right here sitting out of India. And once it's deployed, once the POC success criteria is met, once you've talked about the financials with the customer, it is just a matter of few clicks and you will be done, right? So our point, the takeaway from this particular session from Faraz's introduction is the fact that you can still make in India, but go global in minutes. Yep. So, thank you.
We will move to our technology people here. Puneet, why don't you introduce
yourself? Hi everyone, I'm Puneet, Puneet Jain. I'm a solution architect from AWS. So when their job ends, my job starts to help customer onboard on cloud in their complete cloud journey. So I take care of fintech patch in India, primarily all financial customers where they face a lot of regulations as well in their day-to-day journey. So feel free to reach out to me during this discussion. Yeah, I have my colleague also, Ajit.
Hey, hi all. So I'm also solution architect and working with AWS on FSI sector. And my role is on GenAI. So I primarily help the customer on FSIs, how to enable on GenAI's journey, be a Bedrock or SageMaker. We will be conducting a session on Bedrock also, so you can leverage that. And feel free to ask any question around the Bedrock, how you can secure your application with Bedrock and security on Bedrock also. Thank you.
But you can add your question on GenAI as well. If you are new to that domain, you want to learn a lot of, you are confused with different terms, so you feel free to reach out. We'll go little basic as well and also advanced as well in the sessions we are planning.
Yeah, so from here on, we'll progress on our workshop. We'll have a hands-on workshop on AI. But before we do that, we'll just do a quick commentary on what we are seeing. And the whole intent of is this DSCI AWS security cohort. All we're going to do is how we help our startups to build with AWS. That's the intent, and helping startups to build AI capability within their product line. Now, what are the mechanisms we have? The people you know, the technology people, their business people, and there are mentorship available. So now AWS is going to dedicate resources on mentorship to startups, help them identify the right features, validate those features, how to build, support technically, as well as go to market. And all these people you're seeing in the room, plus there are more people which are going to take you to investors as well. So there are also some bridge fund as well. Now there's a PE, there's investor, all kind of things, but there are bridge funds as well. So now all those opportunities as well will be available for startups which are signing with us, and we have identified GenAI use case for them. We'll work along with them. Now, very quickly, sorry, is it still visible? Yes. State of security, like as I was stating in the morning that 2024 is a year of POC around GenAI, but before we come to GenAI, state of security, the very first thing is security has always been run like a checklist. Okay, that hey, I have done this, great. But the checklist was valid for a static environment. No, applications no longer are being built statically. They are now APIs. They are dynamic application, dynamic in the sense that they connect to the outside world way more often, and there is a continuous API communication. We are moved away from building web-centric application to now API-centric application. That network perimeter is already broken. Just a quick thing is system manipulation is one of the key thing in security, and this is how our role of CISO has started. Capital One Bank, there was a system manipulation happened, and they didn't have anyone who can actually validate that something has gone wrong. So they have to hire a person. That's how the CISO role came up, that they've hired a security person, and that's how security teams start building up. Of course, then other security control, now the CISOs and other security people start putting security controls. What we are seeing right now is compliance, regulation. SEBI has 206 pages released in August, and before that in March 2023. And 2025 January, every capital market customer have to comply to that. And it's very exhaustive. RBI has come up, IRDA has written it. There is a very positive environment. Now, there could be two things. One, people could look at it as, oh, it's a highly regulated market and there's a lot of scrutiny. It could go into a negative sentiment, but the way we are seeing it, it's a very positive environment for security. People understand the importance of security. One of the key trends that we are seeing is around cyber insurance. And the cyber insurance comes from, now why would somebody buy cyber insurance? Because after deploying all the controls, meeting all the compliance, there could still be a risk of losing data exfiltration or breach. How do you mitigate that as cyber insurance? But just think about it. If somebody has to buy cyber insurance, that means they have to account for everything. And if I'm making security and accounting job, that means I have to report all the metric and I have to identify all the threats. That's exactly where cyber insurance comes into picture. Capability added with Gen AI or AI tooling makes security more and more accountable. Now we can go through terabytes of logs and identify patterns, identify metric, identify compromises, identify situations. This is now possible with AI, and that's where cyber insurance is another pattern that we are going to see. Now these are from business pattern perspective. What people are building, the three main things are, of course, security of generative AI, security from generative AI, and how product team or security team can leverage generative AI. Now this talks about some use cases, does not talk about all the use cases of Gen AI, but one of the key use cases we look at is on up-leveling security professionals. Now if I start looking at various security tooling products, platforms, there are large organizations like Palo Alto, Trend Micro, Checkpoint, which have a play of platform. They have a complete platform and they want to serve everything. However, there will always be gaps, and largely I'm seeing that under up-leveling security professionals, startups are going to play a much bigger role. Because they're more pushed towards product. Cybersecurity startup will try to disrupt that by playing into these areas. And we're seeing that on our reactive side, running playbook, writing playbook, automating playbook is one of the big use case. User entity behavior analysis is another big use case. Now, what we have done is we have built a demo. I quickly want to show that, and we'll go around the room and set expectation. After that, we start getting into hands-on. The reason why I'm coming to a demo is it's right now super straight, simple with AI, but in a safer manner, and how we can avoid hallucination as well. So I'll just quickly show a recorded demo. I have a live demo as well, but let me quickly, just to save time so that I don't have to connect to internet right now. I can't read it. Well, I'll just So for example, this is a eKYC application. Now in a GenAI, what we are supplying is just this architecture diagram to Claude. Claude is the model. Claude Sonnet 3.5 V1 we are using. V2 is now also available. So what we'll do is we'll take this architecture diagram, and this is a simple application where we are going to use this architecture diagram, upload this diagram, and it's going to analyze every component of this. It's going to analyze all the components for this and tell me what all security controls need to be deployed for those control, identify the data flow, identify each and every application architecture component. So for example, I'll just quickly move a little faster on this. So it tells me which there's API gateway, IAM role, DynamoDB table, decrypt function, and then it also look into data flow. It also gives me a data flow. And then when I click next, it's going to build a threat model for me. So if I move it a little fast. Yeah, so it will give me an overview of diagram, which architecture components are there, what are the AWS security best practices around it in terms of threats and risk. For example, IAM role, follow the principle of least privilege, Lambda encryption function, API gateway. Now this is a stride-based threat model. You could build Pasta, Dread, any of the one. Now this is a threat model already been created. Now when I speak to our customers, most of them don't even do threat modeling. And it takes around 7 days on a conservative side to 15 days minimum to conduct a threat model exercise. And this can be done like within an hour. This tool does it in 5 minutes. But within an hour, you can have everything understood and ready to go. Why I'm showing you this? The reason I'm showing you this is a super simple, straightforward application written with a couple of prompts. It's not at all production ready. It's just a prototype that, hey, it's an art of possible. It's possible. It's straightforward. Anybody can do it. But organization need these kind of capability. So what to think about in our startup scenarios, what we are solving and what we can embed from an AI perspective in our product line. So with this, I'll just pause here. And before we go to the workshop, we quickly want to come to introduction around the room. And I want to understand what you want to take away from these sessions so that we keep our focus during the workshop on those items. Yeah? With this, I will start. We'll start from here.
Hi, I am Anurag Gupta from Sun Pharmaceuticals. I work there as I'm heading the IT audit function over there. My expectation from this workshop is to understand how generative AI works, how it can help in our regular operations or application reviews, what we can do so far.
One of the great use case for audit is automated compliance reporting. SEBI today says that everyone has to enable a compliance automation tool available for auditor. So that's coming. So I am seeing that as a big opportunity where you can do summarization of all your security finding and collect evidences.
Right. I hope it should be possible.
Yeah, thank you. We'll just go around the room.
Hi, my name is Rohit Venkute and I'm the founder of Cyberstance. We are basically a anti-malware engine and we want to integrate our scrutiny engine inside AWS. We are already in Azure and other marketplace. So we're looking for the opportunity. Yeah. And we have some private offering that we are already doing with AWS.
Okay, great.
You may want to call out if there is any identified use case you have in mind.
Yeah, so we are working in one of the use case with a fintech company where we have replaced Sophos and Client maybe. So these are all the anti-malware engine where they scan, and we have built the credibility where our engine provide the better results and better detection. Yeah.
Great. Any expectation from this session?
Yeah, to see the GTM like and how we can onboard the product in a APN way.
For sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mary. Please.
Hi everyone, this is
Maybe you can take this. Yes.
hi everyone. This is Bhim Singh. I am from Coralogics. We have an observability tool. What I do is I am a cloud security researcher. With this session, generative AI is new to me. I want to dig deep into that and to learn what I can grasp on that. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Samkit Jain. I'm IT officer in the Indian Navy, and I'm handling the cybersecurity and cryptography department of the Indian Navy. So, with this session, I want to take away how can we implement this AI on our existing cybersecurity infrastructure. If there is a possibility, I just want to see how can we help it.
Hello. Hi everyone. My name is Girish. I'm part of InvestNet Asset Management. I'm part of the cloud security assessment team. So I just wanted to explore how we can use this AI to improve the cloud security posture of our infrastructure.
Yeah, same. I'm like representing the same company, myself Deepak. I'm part of the network and cloud security team. So we are checking for AI solutions into our assessment platform, how we can generate more valuable output through that. So that's why we are here. Like we like to know what we can take out from this. Thank you.
Where are you when you are learning about GenAI? Are you at beginner level, advanced?
We have some experience, but not that much particular, because we have a different platform which is used on the AI side, not on AWS side, but I have some experience on that.
Hi, I'm Anshul. I'm CTO at AKS IT. We are an auditing company in cybersecurity space. I'm trying to find out ways to automate the audits, because the number of audits have skyrocketed, including privacy. Things have started coming up. So just wanted to see how GenAI can help us on this side of things.
Yeah, hi, myself Nitin. So I'm with Girish and Deepak. I'm actually a software developer, and yeah, Bedrock and other GenAI concepts are pretty interesting to me as a developer, right? Something which is booming right now. So I would say I'm like pretty beginner into AI thing, but yeah, I have that programming experience I have, but this is something I would like to learn more. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, my name is Vikram. We already are using AWS for our platform. We have a threat intelligence platform which is hosted on AWS right now. So I'm just trying to explore what AI can, can we use AI for building new cases for our customer and providing better intelligence. Thank you.
Okay, great. I think everyone is covered, right? Yeah. So everyone, I think we already discussed Puneet. So how we have designed this workshop is we'll give you AWS account as well. We'll start with some basics around what is GenAI, what is Bedrock, and how it works. And we'll also give you AWS accounts to play different things so that we'll give you complete ecosystem, and we'll give you workshops so that you can try some hands-on experience as well. And we'll keep those accounts active maybe for some time so that you can try your specific things as well when you leave. So I'll start with some of the, I think as all of you are at different stages, but there are a lot of keywords. Anyone who is expert in all of this or know what are all of these terms, for example, temperature, tokens, vectors, we hear a lot about this. Or you want us to cover little bit insight about what are those Maybe we can start from there, otherwise we'll simply jump on. Anyone, should we go a little information about this? Okay. Okay, so we'll start with this. So that's our high-level agenda. Again, as I said, we'll start with what is generative AI, some demystifying those terms. Then we'll talk about Gen AI stack on AWS, followed by Amazon Bedrock, what it covers and how it can simplify your AI journey, as some of you are expecting. And then I'll also hand over to my friend for maybe more advanced topic around Bedrock and to start the hands-on workshop, how to start those workshops. So quickly, so what is generative AI? I think all of us already know it's something, I mean, artificial intelligence that can produce the original content, and which is close enough to human generated content, right? If I define, and they're all powered by foundation models. Like before that, there used to be machine learning data scientists which used to process a lot of data and then generate the AI models. But once this foundation model concept came, where there are pre-trained model you can leverage in your day-to-day life, and so that you don't really need to retrain everything every day for a lot of use cases. But there are still possibility of fine-tuning these models. There is still possibility of retraining these models with a smaller data sets rather than giving the huge data set which used to be required earlier. And these models are increasing every single day, and there are very, very large models available today, 400 billion parameters, even beyond. And they basically help you reduce your time and to develop these models, and you can simply adopt to them. I'll quickly jump on. So what it is, so there are some terms, maybe I'll simply expand it. I'll slightly explain it, what are these and how these are related when we are, calling any LLM models, and how does it work. Tokenization is the step one, where basically what you do is whatever sequence of word you talk about, you break that down, that text into small tokens so that machine can understand that. For example, if I say my name is Puneet, so I can break it down into tokens. It can be my name is Puneet. It can be a word tokenization. It can be a further going deeper into maybe a word can also be broken into further depending on the tokenization model. We'll talk about this in little more. So once you have sequence of words, you can convert into tokens. Then these tokens can be converted into numerical representation of text. So that machine can better understand those, and those are known as vectors. So we heard this term a lot. So these are nothing but a numerical representation of tokens. And when you do a lot of collections of vectors, we call it embedding. And prompt, I think you already, you must have used different AI models, and you pass on the information and to get the output. So basically your prompt is converted into tokens, and then embeddings, and then it calls your LLM models in the end. And parameters are memory of models that define how intelligent the model is, how it can provide you the answer around the context you have. And the more larger the model, the sometimes slower and to respond. So let's go a little more around tokenization. As I said, tokenization is about breaking your words into tokens. For example, word level tokenization. This is about your text is split into token based on white space characters. Like quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog would be tokenized into 9 tokens. The quick brown fox jumps. So this is a very simple way of tokenization, but these days there are more complex tokenization. For example, subword tokenization. Where this same line is actually turned into 11 tokens. They follow BP, or they follow a byte pair encoding token mechanism. So that, for example, why they does it, for example, this BR can be related to another word as well. There may be subword can be related to another word in the vector space. So that's how this tokenization works. Just keep it in mind. Maybe as we proceed, you'll be able to understand why this is important for machine learning world. So every word, sequence of word is converted into tokens, and you might have seen all your bills of AI is in terms of token. And so that's a very important terminology we need to understand. Yeah, so maybe one simple thumb rule, if you are using a word level tokenization, 1,000 words means 1,000 tokens, but generally we follow, because there are subword tokenization also being followed by different mechanisms. So maybe you can use 750 words, you can sometimes consider 1,000 tokens. But again, it varies based on the LLM model you are using. Then, as I said, vector embedding is nothing but a numerical representation. For example, New York has different vectors embedding possible. I mean, there are a lot of models which can convert your text into vector embeddings, which they do nothing but just represent a numerical representation in a multi-dimensional space. For example, this New York can be converted into different numerical representation, and it can be multilingual as well. Different languages, text can be converted into different numerical representation. So what happens when we pass on our words to LLM? It starts generating or predicting different words. But what happens inside is actually your LLM don't understand any of these words. So what it does is it converts it into token. Then token is converted into embeddings, which is nothing but a numerical representation. Then it is passed on to your transformer model. So transformer is a neural network architecture first introduced back in 2017 through a white paper. Attention is all you need. Maybe you can go and read about it. So that's a very interesting white paper, how this all evolved, why suddenly there's a lot of LLM start coming up. So it's about self-attention mechanism it follows. Like it keeps an eye on all the inputs while generating the output. But how internally it works, it converts all the tokens into embeddings. Then transformer understands these embeddings and it generates the embedding. Then once it is presented to you, it's again converted back into your predicted word. Let's go a little deeper and understand. For example, when we speak, I speak a sequence of words. Every word is related to another words. Or if I read a book, there are a sequence of words. Every word is related to another words. And if we process all of this data, there are billions of parameters, billions of data available, wiki page, docs, books, everything. If we process all of them and convert into vector space, and if we try to generate based on those vector space into another word, for example, if I pass lazy keyword and keep that information in a particular database or somewhere and try to generate what should be the next possible words. So if I just pass lazy, then there can be a possibility like person, there are 8%, as per the model it says 8% possibility is the next token should be person. And boss is maybe 5%. I hope my boss is not there. So 5% probability of coming boss after lazy, reading all the document words is probability of coming that. But the moment you add more and more context to this, for example, I added more words, folks jump over the lazy, then it goes back to that world and it realizes the entire probability information is changed. Now, instead of previous info, since fox is jumping over lazy, so the possibility or looking at all the previous information, the rabbit, chances of coming rabbit is 40% and coming of dog is 15%. So that's how it works internally. But there are hyperparameters so that you can tune the response. For example, we often hear the temperature of model is set to 0 or temperature of model is set to 1. So when we say temperature is 0, it's about you're asking model to generate more specific answer. For example, if I keep a temperature set as 0, it should give me result as rabbit because it is giving the highest probability item. But if I ask him the temperature much higher, it will go down to the probability table. So that's how temperature help you if you are looking for a more specific or a more generic answer. If you are suppose writing a article which should be quite random rather than looking at the previous data, then you want to go little random side of the table. So that's how these temperature as a hyperparameters help you. Then there is another important parameter in a model. So whenever you are doing, sometime we heard from our customers, they are trying LLM model and they are not getting the desired output. And when we realize their temperature is set much higher, which is giving you much random result. But what they were expecting is they are passing information and more specific answer. So that's why this is really important to know some basics around this. Then second parameter is top P. Top P is about, for example, I said top P is 0.55. So what will do it is, it will do a segmentation. It will try to generate a more deterministic answer. So when I say top P is 0.55, it will just ignore all the bottom answer. And these two, sum of these two probability is 55%. So it will just take the higher domains. And then based on your temperatures, if I set a higher temperature, it will take this as an output. If I take lower temperature, it will take this as an output. So that's how your hyperparameter help you generate based on your need. And so make sure whenever you are using any LLM, especially in Bedrock as well, just go through these parameters, just try to tune it based on your specific need. Okay, so these are some very, very small basic level things, but yeah, there are more you can definitely read about. Simply I'll touch upon prompt engineering. I think developing and optimizing prompts is very much required to get the desired output apart from hyperparameters. And what are those? I think you all know prompt is just passing information to your model and getting the desired output. But there are different techniques and different elements of prompt that we all should be very much clear about. For example, there are 4 parts in a prompt. One is instructions. So instruction is nothing but a, you're telling your model that you act as a IT technical expert and that provides the customer service. So you're telling your model how it should behave when it is generating that output. So those are set of instructions that you want to give him, contextualize the set of probability table it will generate based on your context, right? Or your instructions. For example, consider this context below to answer your user questions. You are telling who you are, what you need to do. Then there is a context. Context is in which dimension world he need to look. Like you work in a support line of technology that commercialize Android smartphone. So now you know you are a IT technical expert. You work on a support line. You work on a company that commercialize Android phone. So it will just look for answers in that embedding space. And then there are user inputs where you can tell what my question is, and then finally the output is. But why I'm telling you, so there are different prompt techniques. I think zero shot, most of us use every single day. So everything we write in a single line and just pass it to LLM and it try to get the answer. So we call it zero shot, where you don't follow any practice actually. You just pass on your input. For example, in this was net income was $3.2 billion in first quarter, 0.31 per diluted share, and then how is the sentiment of the company going? So based on the input, the model try to understand and generate. And today the models are so intelligent, even with a zero shot, they start producing very nice results. But earlier that's not the case. But zero shot is first most whenever we start our journey. But there are more complex prompting which can help you to ensure, like you said, you want to integrate with your audits and other things. So for example, few shot is when you just don't only provide the instruction, you also provide certain examples so that model can understand how to process this information and how to generate. For example, this same example where operating income is 4.8 billion in first quarter compared to 3.7. First quarter was income included approximately 5 billion of charges related to estimated severance cost. And you want to, you have given this example that this has a sentiment positive. Then you have given another example where the sentiment is negative. So now model knows what your sentiment positive and negative means. Then you actually ask your question. Operating income fell into 15% in first quarter compared to last. And then based on the information, it contextualize itself and provide you answer. So this will be much more accurate compared to zero shot. So always provide some examples that's really improve your output. Then another one is chain of thought. So this is very much important when you are doing some arithmetic kind of operations. For example, this one, the first input is you have given a model that Roger has 5 tennis balls, he buys 2 more cans of tennis balls, and each can has 3 balls. So you know the answer is 11, right? You have given this example. Then you have provided a question. Cafeteria has 23 apples, and they used 20 to make lunch and bought 6 more. If you pass this, you will realize the model is giving the wrong answer sometimes because it hallucinated, and by taking the previous example, this is quite differs. It don't know how to proceed to that level. So chain of thought can really improve this kind of scenario. For example, the example, instead of saying 11, we can explain to model that how we reach out to 11. So like in this case, Roger started with 5 balls, 2 cans of 3 balls. then 5 plus 6 is 11, that's why the answer is 11. And suddenly your answer becomes correct. So that's how chain of thought is very much popular and can help you reducing the hallucination. When you give your examples, just give little steps, because your question will vary so that it knows how to approach to that answer. And then zero shot plus COT also, where in the zero shot itself you, for example, the previous question, zero shot, a juggler is juggling 16 balls, half of the balls are golf balls, half of the gold balls are blue. How many blue golf balls are there? So the answer is it has generated 8, but which is incorrect. But the same question, you have added one more line, think step by step. So it goes to previous contextual world, it knows what is step by step, then start calculating again and it realizes the answer is 4, which is more correct. So this is like a glimpse of how prompt engineering works, and it's really important when you are actually productionizing your LLM models for your any of the use case. It could be security or anything. Okay, so maybe I'll skip that. I will quickly jump on AWS GenAI stack. So this was just a basic so that we are on same page. So we have a very deep stack of generative AI as well as AI. It starts from the, so we have 3 layers in that. So we start from base layer, which is infrastructure for foundational model training and inferencing. So we have chips like Trainium and Inferentia, which is purpose built for a specific use case for training, for Inferentia. And our SageMaker is one shop where you can customize, fine tune, build your own model, and it can do everything in the AI. And this is a very popular tool among data scientists. They do every, customization, fine tuning through SageMaker. But I'll not go deeper into this. Then there is a middle stack which is built on top of these. Some of these models might be built trained on Trainium and inference or through Inferentia. But Bedrock is our simple API way of accessing large language models, and there are different language models available which are very popular among industry. And we have provided several advanced capabilities like guardrails, agents, customizations, which Ajit will cover in detail. Then at the top layer, there are applications which internally use Bedrock. For example, you might have heard about Q Business, Q Developer, Q in QuickSight, and Q in Connect. Basically, they are use case driven. They behind the scene they follow Bedrock APIs and call them, but they are use case specific. For example, Q Developer, it can convert your Java 8 into Java 17. What it is doing behind the scene is calling LLM, converting those codes. And there are agents return, which is generating the prompt on the fly and giving you the desired output. So this is the high level stack. So Bedrock, as I said, it's our easiest way to build scale generative AI application, and this simplify not just using, you can use any models. You don't really need to host it and follow a lot of heavy lifting. You can simply start using as a API, and there are ways available. You can call multi-models as well through a single API. So it gives you a choice of leading foundation model through single API. You can customize your models. You can fine tune in a very simplified way. You can convert RAG use cases. RAG, I think this term comes a lot if you are not aware. RAG is about, for example, you have a lot of info about your own domain. Maybe some hotel line, they have information about their hotels, prices, everything. And there are prompts available which can, or there is a LLM available. So RAG is about retrieving that info from your own system, augmenting it, and then generating the output. So instead of just passing on some information to your LLM, you will just use the knowledge base on top of that. And knowledge base is creating based on your own info. Like you said, some of you are coming from some audit worlds. You have a lot of info, documentation, SOC, everything. You can keep that info in a embedded in world in the Bedrock knowledge base, and then when you call LLM, it will know what information is coming from your own embedding and what information LLM need to generate. I think in the example today in the workshop we'll do that. Then agents are, I mean, basically you can execute multi-step task. Sometimes simply calling and getting the output is not enough. You need to do multiple calls to LLM. For example, suppose you want to get what is the top selling books this month. Then you need to first write a query for your database, right? That can provide all those results, then customize it. Maybe there may be multiple calls you might need to do to multiple databases, multiple SQL generation you might need to do to generate that output. So all of this can be done by writing a simple agents in Bedrock. And security, privacy, safety, I think that's the best part about Bedrock. It still follows our, it gives you very native, secure way of using AI, and that's why our customer really loves it. So this is a high-level list of models which is available, but actually this list has grown much more. So there are top vendors which has built up different models. For example, AI 121. So they have models on contextual answer summarization, paraphrasing, like Jamba Instruct, Jurassic and Jurassic 2 are very popular ones. Then our Amazon has also given a lot of models with Amazon Titan. There are available for embedding, there are available for multi-model embedding or image generation or text generation, different use case. Similarly, Anthropic is very popular. I think Lalit was showing one example where he was using Claude Sonnet or Haiku. So basically these are models you can simply select from drop down and start using it. We'll showcase today. And Cohere, Meta is another popular ones you are hearing a lot. Every single month they are launching models and they are very, very intelligent. In fact, in your WhatsApp also you're using these days. So you can start leveraging those straight away by writing few lines of code in Bedrock. Similarly, Mistral, Stability AI. I'll not spend too much time on it. We want more time on doing hands-on. So I'll hand over to Ajit after this. So maybe Ajit, you can add some more advanced topics and then we can start workshop.
Thank you, Pani. Okay, so what we have seen, Puneet has covered till here is that what is the offering from AWS, and we have an understanding. Yeah, we have understanding that what is GenAI, and if we want to build any application on GenAI or AI or ML, then what are the offerings we have from Bedrock or from AWS? We have briefly discussed that we have models, foundation models, and these foundation models are being trained on a very large data set. Therefore, we call them foundation model. And initially, previous to coming to this foundation model, we have models available, and we used to develop with the help of our data science team to at least do a specific activity. Now that differentiation that we added with GenAI is that now you will have one foundation model, and if you want to do a summarization, if you want to do a sentiment analysis, if you want to generate a new text, if you want to write a summary around it. So instead of writing for each of these activity individual model, you can use the foundation models, and over there this LLM come into picture. Now we have a list of LLMs that is available, and now here the differentiation that AWS bring to in. We have Bedrock. On the Bedrock you have these LLM hosted, so you will be accessing these LLMs through API, and you will only pay for the content that you have passed on. And over there the unit of metrics that you will be measuring is tokens. So how many tokens you have shared as input, how many tokens is generated by the Bedrock, and you will pay for it. Another way of doing the same activity is use the SageMaker. On SageMaker, you will be running the virtual machines, either GPU powered, non-GPU powered, based on your choice. And I hope you are coming from the AWS background, then you must be knowing that we have VPC concept. So you have your own VPC. In that VPC, you will be running a EC2 instance, that is your VM. That VM will be GPU, non-GPU, or 8x large, 12x large, 24x large, or maybe very small tiny machine also, on where your model fits in. So it should not be always LLM. Any model which you want to bring in and you want to run your model, then instead of running on EC2, you should run on SageMaker. And what will be the offering from SageMaker is that if you want to scale up your models, suppose you're right now in the daytime, you are anticipating a workload which requires 4 EC2 instance of the same size. And maybe in the night time, maybe you need to scale out to just 1 instance, or maybe you have to scale out to 0. So either you have to put your DevOps team to manage these activities, or you can use SageMaker. In SageMaker, auto scaling, provisioning, and deploying multiple models with your Terraform script or with automation is possible. So that is the differentiation it brings into in. And down the line, when you have a multimodal capabilities, so you have more than 4 different models, and each model need to be have a different version, and you want to try it out, you want to do beta testing, you want to do A/B testing. All these features are available with Feature Store. So we will see in a very deep dive when we are covering this in our workshop. But again, on screen you see a Amazon Titan model. This is the foundation model that is developed by Amazon. And over here, if you see, we have a text model, embedding models. We have discussed about the embedding models in the Praveen just has covered. So the differentiation that we have is that all the models that we come from the foundation model are text model. So when we say text model, it means that it takes a text as an input and give text as the output. So it is a text model. And then we have a multi-models that it can take not only text, it can take images, videos, presentations, slide deck, Excel sheet. And now within the Titan model, we have a Noah model now just gone live yesterday, and it takes video as an input. So you can take video as an input, generate, customize that video, or you just pass on this simple prompt that I want to 9-second video or 9-second reel about cat flying in the sky, something like that. So it can generate a video also. So that is the multimodal capabilities added. So this Titan model family that you see, it not only generates the text as output, it generates images also, embeddings also, and now video also. So this is a specific offering from AWS, from Amazon, not AWS. And then we have another model family that is available is Anthropic. Then we have Claude, then we have Meta, and the list is numerous, and this list keep on growing. The differentiation over here is that each model cannot be present in each of the geography. So we have more than 18 regions available, and we cannot simply deploy all of the models or all of the LLMs in each of the region. It is not economic. So based on the region preference and the commercials over there, or based on the market demand, market signal, we keep on deploying those models. If we talk very specific to Mumbai, in Mumbai we have Claude, we have Meta available, we have Amazon Titan available, and other models are keep on adding. So based on the economics that we see, based on the market signals we see, we keep on deploying these models. But you're not restricted only to Bedrock. If you feel that you have a specific requirement, suppose Llama 3.2 is not available in Mumbai, but you see you have a use case and you want to work with Llama 3.2, you can use SageMaker, again provision that SageMaker into your EC2 and deploy that model and have an endpoint and integrate with your applications. Okay, over here in the screen, if you see, we have listed what are the different family members on the model family we have from the Claude. Claude 3.5 is the most intelligent model, and we have talked about the its parameter, the small model, tiny model, quantized model, and the bigger model. The differentiation over here is that how much or how many parameters this model is trained. Obviously, the number of parameters, if you keep on adding, it takes more time, more energy, and more cost, and more epoch cycle to train that model. So bigger the model, bigger is the cost associated with the token exchange that you see. So 3.5 is the most intelligence model, and obviously because it's a bigger model, for this given activity, it will take much more time with comparison with other models. But now this time scale is now, we see the thin line between the latencies is also coming down. And it is more about how intelligent the model is, and for your use case, which model fit has a better fit. And if just we take one example over here, suppose if you want to generate a summary of a given topic, then both 3.5 Haiku, Sonnet work seamlessly for you. So you have to do a benchmarking that for a given activity. Maybe you have an example that you have taken an email use case, and for that email use case, you want to classify that email and do an auto response for that email. For that, all of the model not listed on this screen, other large language model will work for you. So baselining is first activity that you have to identify that which model provider works for you and its availability in your region. And then obviously the cost also. Okay, now I was just discussing that when we do identification that which model, because we have an array of list of models available, which models work for you. So we have already given you one tool on your AWS console, which talks about model evaluation. So in model evaluation, you take your inputs, that is maybe you can write a few prompts and for the same use case, and you just keep on changing the model IDs, and for that it will give you all the parameters. It includes latency, it includes that how accurate the response is, and you can add your own metrics of it. So it will help you to baseline that which model works for you, and then you can use that model to deploy your code or integrate with your code. It is one representation. Suppose we have taken two different models for the same use case, model A, model B. We have not put any specific name just to not to demerit one model, maybe Llama versus Claude. But if you take two different models, the parameters or the comparison, you will see that how fair it is, how accurate it is, and toxicity, robustness, accuracy will also can be seen as one of the metrics on the screen. Also, you can add your own KPIs if you want to measure that differentiation. Okay. Till here we have discussed that what are the models and LLMs are available. Now we have briefly discussed around the RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. Why we need a RAG? We have a LLM, we pass a prompt to it and it will give us a response. So where RAG come into picture? So the story is you are passing a prompt input and you are getting an output. But you are built on the number of tokens that you are being sending as an input and generating as an output. And suppose if you have an email use case where you're sending complete email as an input and you want to summarize or you want to reply of that email, then you have to pass some context to that email. So if it is suppose bankbazaar.com and it usually deals with all the financial information. So there will be in its email, when it's communicating with user, there will be few terms, credit, lending, ROI, or something, these technical terms, which normally LN doesn't understand. So to augment that technical terms, you have to pass on some information that when you read this email of the user and before replying to me, understand that when you say ROI, it means return on investment. When I say credit lending, it means this, and this is my Saksham API or Saksham application. If it is, then Saksham application has this description. So understand that context. So to build that context, we have to pass on some additional information. Over there, that come into picture. RAG can be an independent service that you can plug in with your architecture, but to help you over there, we have created a service, added as a feature in Bedrock and name it as knowledge base. So, and again, just summarizing my story, knowledge base is just another form of RAG which is provided by AWS. Over there, you will keep on adding your context. It can be FAQs information, it can be any data which can help the LLM to make a wise answer before giving back to the output to you. And how you can set up a RAG? You can, for setting up a RAG, if you follow this diagram, so we are using RAG just in parallel to the Bedrock. In the RAG, you will put all the static files. It can be dynamic files also. That means you can connect that RAG with your database also. From there, it can pull information. For example, if somebody asks that what is my current account details. So this information is always available in database, and RAG cannot have a direct connectivity with the database. So we have developed an agent which will act on behalf of the Bedrock, take the customer ID, user ID, whatever the identifier of the user, connect with the database and give back to your response. So that is also a part of your retrieval augmented generation. In RAG, we will be using or connecting a vector database because we are vectorizing or creating embedding of the data or the static questions that you are adding to the knowledge base. So in RAG, you will be choosing a vector compatible database. In AWS, we have 4 different, as of now when we speak, we have 4 different services or database which supports vector embedding. You can use that maybe OpenShift serverless or PG vector, Mongo compatible database. There are 4 different on AWS. But if you are not interested on AWS, you can free to choose any vector embedding database outside AWS also and connect with your knowledge base, and it will work seamlessly with you. We will include this knowledge base session in our workshop today. One more point, because we are talking about the vector embedding, so there is one step that will convert your query, user questions, and the knowledge base and the data to embedding. Over there, you need an embedding model. So we have currently supporting Jurassic, Embedding Titan, Anthropic, and Meta as an embedding model, which will work with for you to generate embedding, convert your text into embedding, and retrieve back embedding to the text and feed it into to the LLMs. I have already covered about this slide just, mostly talk about why we need a knowledge base. And again, just to summarize that, if you don't use knowledge base, again, it will work very well for you. You pass question, it will give you answer. But to augment your that context that you're getting output as an LLM, you need to pass more data, and over there knowledge base come into picture. These are the data source that you can connect with your knowledge base. So it can be crawling of a website, it can be integrating with a database, it can be integrated with a Salesforce, SharePoint, Confluence, and these plugins are keep on adding day by day. So initially, we only have that you can put your files on a S3 bucket, connect that S3 bucket to the knowledge base, and you are done. But down the line, we see there is expectation and queries from the customer that they want to integrate. They want a dynamic knowledge base. So we said, okay, we can integrate with a database. They said, we have a complete website. Suppose I ask question that what is happening in New York today as of now? Is Donald Trump is still trending or not? So if you want to get this type of use cases, that means you have to scan a particular website, news website, something like that. So for that use case, we have added that you can connect knowledge base with some multiple news website on any URLs that keep on scanning at a periodic frequency, generate those embedding, and whenever the question arises on that specific topic, it will give you the answer. So these are the capabilities that's added on the Bedrock with knowledge base. But if you don't prefer, you can use any other architecture to include those RAG features to your architecture. Yep. Now customizing the models. So in the start of my session, I mentioned that we have a family of LLMs available on Bedrock. Now these Bedrock, be a small model or a bigger model, these are already trained on a very large data set. So they have a very good opinion, very good understanding of the questions or the context that you're asking. But that will be at least 3 months, 6 months older data, because there is a good time spent on training these models, customizing them, packaging them, and then deploying to a specific provider. So at AWS, Bedrock is one of the providers of these LLMs. So obviously you see a data gap between the current date when you are accessing this model and the date on which these are trained, and usually it is 3 months normally. Every 3 months there is a new release of each of the model providers. So what you will do to fill up this gap, if you want to understand or ask your queries for these questions between this time gap. That is point one. Point two is that suppose you are very specific to your industry. Suppose the person is from Indian Navy, and then we have some representatives from Corologics and other. So these have their own specific jargons. They have own understanding knowledge, which is not publicly available. And since data is not publicly available, the model doesn't have answer around it, doesn't have concept around it. So if somebody asks, or if you have a use case where you ask question on that topic, model will be blank. It will not be giving you answer. So for these areas, you can either add RAG to it. So you put all those information to a S3 bucket, some source, and connect to a knowledge base. And each time the flow will be that you will ask question, Bedrock will ask knowledge base that you understand this concept, knowledge base searches database, and then pull some embedding, convert that into text, and then feed to the context, and then give you answer. So it is a long loop. What can be the efficient way over is that you put that extra information or your own PII data to train that model. And train that model, that means it has already been trained, suppose petabyte of data, you add few GBs or few TBs of data to train that model. And after train that model, this model is now very opinionated for you. And you will not share that model. So currently, if you see how Bedrock is hosted in one of the VPC of AWS own, and then multiple customers interact with that model and get the output. But when you fine tune that model, it is only fine tuned for you. It will be deployed only for you, and you will be mentioning that. You will be putting a provision throughput capacity over there that I will be hitting 10,000 times a month. So I will be charged only for this. So there will be two costs for it. One is training cost, that is a fixed cost, and then how much throughput you want from that model. So that will be the cost, and it will be different from the token price that we have discussed previously. So again, On Bedrock, we have two different pricing model. One is the on-demand pricing model. That means how much token you have exchanged and how much token you have received. That is the very simple on-demand we used to say. Then we have a provision capacity model on which you will either deploy your own customized model or trained model, or you can bring your own model also and deploy on Bedrock, and you define the how much throughput you want and you pay for it. So that is a pretty much higher side, but that is the two offerings from Bedrock. And normally, as we see from the market, people go for customization because RAG, if you have a very large use case where you see that millions of transactions happening each of the month, then RAG becomes a bit complex and a bit costly over there. And fine-tuning a model helps you to improve the efficiency, improves the cost and overall latency also. Okay, and then these I was mentioning that what are the vector models, vector DB available on AWS. So we have OpenSearch and then PostgreSQL and document DBs, and if you want to integrate with document DB, we have 0ETL, Redis for memory DB, and Neptune also. The graph DB is available. So, but this list will keep on happening and this will keep on increasing. But it is not limited that you should be using only vector database from AWS. I'm fairly open to use any vector database that you use. If you start your journey, you start with the normally some in-memory databases that have a vector capabilities, and gradually, but when you move to production, obviously you will shift to this type of managed web services or some Pinecone, something like that. Okay, now I'm coming to the last leg. Till here we have covered what is the GenAI, what is LLM, what are the foundation models, what is the knowledge base. Now we are coming to the last leg, that is agents. So agents is where, I don't know if you have heard from function calling of tools on OpenAI. It is very similar to the that what we have agents. What is agent is that suppose you ask a question to an LLM that, okay, I want to, you have developed a chatbot and you ask Bedrock, and this application is already integrated with the knowledge base and APIs. Now you ask the Bedrock as through a chat application that I want to make a booking for these days, and the APIs are already integrated with you. Can you do a booking for me on my behalf? Now, these type of activities cannot be answered instantly. It will not say, okay, yes or no. It has to perform certain activities. It will check that current date. It will check that you are a valid user or not. Then it will check that it has access to the API. And all these 5-10 different steps that is being executed, then only it can say yes or no, or it has failed to execute that. Now, this type of activity cannot be done by prompt engineering. Over there, prompt engineering fails because there's a sequence of steps has to be processed, had to get results. Based on those results, a further step will be executed, and then finally answer will be derived. So for that, agents come into picture. So again, agents is orchestration of the prompts that will be happening in a chain of thought, that is step-by-step process for a given user input. So again, a scenario will be that you have an interface. It can be a chat interface, it can be API interface, something from where input will come into picture. Those input will be broken down into a number of steps that need to be broken down, and those steps will be executed one by one, and then final output will be generated. And that is where agents come into picture. On Bedrock, we have this capability available on Bedrock as a feature. And now with the latest addition tomorrow, yesterday that we have added, you can orchestrate agent. So suppose you have one agent that only does work on the booking of the hotel and flight. We have another agent who can create and chat with the customer and capture the customer mindset. Then we have another agent who can send out the feedbacks and capture the feedbacks of the user. So, and you can orchestrate that complete agents to a single access point. From there you can control all your APIs or all of the interaction happening on the world. So single consolidated pane from where all the queries can be floated or executed. Okay, these are I have already covered. I will, if you need it, we can share this deck with you so that you can have a go through it. And if you have any question, come back. The last leg, because we are in the security session, we are always talking about the security. So this is dedicated on security on Bedrock. So we have two different offerings, as I mentioned, Bedrock and SageMaker. And since SageMaker is deployed in your VPC, so you can easily control and secure that infrastructure and the corresponding APIs happening over there. But how you can control the Bedrock? Because Bedrock is deployed on Amazon VPC. You don't have much control over there. And if you want to talk about security, or if some of your auditors talk about the security, what answers you have? So over there, guardrails come into picture. specifically in the European Union, you have GDPR. Again, we have multiple compliance come into picture, and there are SOX norms, ISO norms. So to address these different security terminology and the compliance, we have put guardrails over into picture. Guardrails, what it enables you, first it will help you to, if you configure, because there are two different options. Either you can enable guardrails or not enable the guardrails. The workflow will be very simple. But when you enable the guardrails, what are the options or leverage you have? You can control the PII data. So suppose if you are interacting with Bedrock, and if it is an email use case, okay, so you are sending that the person username, you are sending the dates. You can, if it has the account number also, you are sharing to the Bedrock. So if you enable Bedrock, you can have the option to redact the PI data or remove the PI data. Similarly, if it is a conversation that LLM is generating an output for you, so you can put a checkbox over there that don't generate offensive word, be general, neutral. So there are 29 as of now these different checks boxes that you can control and at least be compliant to the fairness or biasness of the LLM world. So there are normally you have heard this heard this term responsible AI. So when we talk about the LLMs, it should be very fair, it should be general, neutral, it should be ethnic neutral. These all terms come into picture, especially from the EU region or from the West region. So to make your application and its integration compliant to this, you can use guardrails to it. It is very simple a checkbox activity, and you can put your own ask also that my output through prompt engineering, that my output generator should be compliant to these things and in this manners. But we have specifically baked in those controls, and I have to enable to it. So again, if you want, you can add or you can remove those controls, but these are available as a platform offering. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I keep on missing. Again, no, this is the last slide that I have. This is Converse API. Now, why we have built this Converse API is that I talk about we have multiple LLMs, and they are coming from multiple providers. So something coming from Amazon, something coming from Anthropic, something coming from Meta. So because these all models or all these providers are working at their own space, and it is not possible for all of them to have a same structure of their prompts or how they accept the input to their LLMs. Therefore, we see that the prompt which works very well with the Claude will not work with the Meta. And we talk about the temperature. So for Claude, the temperature range is only between 0 to 1, but for Meta, it is between 0 to 100. Although it makes more, it is all in the same concept that 0 means no intuitiveness to the accurate, precise answer, and the larger scale, that is 1 or 100, is more intuitive. But these temperature, hyperparameters, and the prompt texture varies from one model to another model. So what we have done to, as a builder, because you are a builder, what we have done, we have come up with a Converse API. So in Converse API, you write the same, you write prompts, you write hyperparameters, and whenever you change the model ID, based on the model ID, the Converse API in the background translate that prompt that you have written to the respective model provider language. Over there, it comes handy. So all you need to do as the things improve, as the thing progress, because we do see that each quarter we have new model releases, a new family is added. If you write your code with Converse API, only thing is you need to change the model ID itself. No change in the code altogether.
Any questions you have maybe before we jump on to workshop? Feel free to ask. But I hope you are able to visualize, like as you given the different use cases you want to build up. So there is a knowledge base you can build up. There is a, you can fine tune your own model based on, since all of you comes from a security world. So there is a completely different context. The LLM model, which might not be knowing that context at all. So you can do a fine tuning very quickly, just pass on that info, and you don't need to manage any infra. Bedrock simplify all this heavy lifting for you, and we can showcase that during these workshop as well. Once you do that, you will feel, this is a platform that completely remove all the heavy lifting. You can simply bring on your use case, understand the concept, how to build knowledge base, how to build agents, and that's it. So whatever use case you have, once you know all these components, I think you very easily you can build on top of that. Yeah. Any questions before we jump on to workshop? Or Lalit, what is the lunch time? Otherwise, should we? Maybe start this and. Yes. Okay, maybe you can scan this code. So this will give you one page where you just need to pass on your email ID and it will create a AWS account for you. That is valid for today. Maybe we'll see if we can extend, but you can, then there are sequences steps you can follow and just try out Bedrock first. So we have 2 labs. First one is about trying out different models in, so there is a playground available in Bedrock. You can simply generate image, generate text the way you do every single day using different AI models, maybe ChatGPT or whatever. So you can do it in Bedrock, just feel, get used to of it if you are not. Then also, writing a simple knowledge base, writing a simple agents, all of this you can try out in Bedrock space. The first lab is about that. Second is about more complex use case around integrating your database, generating the desired output. So maybe just scan this and let us know if you are able to access the AWS account or not. Or typing this link will be difficult, right?
We need to scan from mobile and activate from mobile only, right?
No, from laptop also it will work. Actually, it's easier way to share. Maybe you can just pass on this link to your laptop. You can do that as well. I think you will be trying the workshop on your laptop, so it's better you. Maybe I was thinking that only. Maybe let's create the tiny URL quickly.
Yeah, it will be active for 3 days.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to turn it off because of security reasons. So just try everything today. We never know. Maybe for example, Meta we talked about. Okay, these are not visible to me, and in fact none of them is visible to me. So first, what you need to do is you need to request the access. So you need to go to this particular section, settings. If you are going directly. And this model access, and whatever model you want to try, just enable that, or maybe enable all. Fail hoga? Okay, let's see. Yeah, because the workshop environment, sometimes we don't enable all the models, but yes, let's try. Yeah, I think these are available. Some of them might fail, as Ajit is saying. But I think now you can try this. So once they are enabled, go to chat section. Again, select the model. First the model provider. Maybe I'll start with maybe, I think they're still not visible. 1 second. Let me see. Okay. Available to request. Oh, so grant is 0. I think we need to wait. It will take some time, or maybe we can enable specific ones. For example, I can select maybe Meta Llama. Okay, Claude. Sonnet. Okay, let's enable only Claude 3 Sonnet. But generally, when you do it in your account, AWS account, this works seamlessly. You can enable all of this. So it's in progress. Yeah. Finally, something is going on. It will take some time to come up, but maybe meanwhile you can just go through different options. So what choices you have, for example, which models are available. This section is talk about custom model, where you can do fine tuning and all of this. And your imported models, if you have fine tuned something, you can import in Bedrock and make it run. Then these 2 sections are playground, where you can try these models. Agent flows, knowledge base, prompt management are a bit advanced topics. For example, you can create certain prompts, you can use it. I think guardrails, you can create a guardrail meanwhile. For example, if I click on guardrail, I can give it a name. and so that you get to know what it is. Like you want to filter out certain harmful categories. So this hate, insult, sexual violence, all of this can be filtered out. Prompt attack also you can by clicking just enabling this you can do that. And yes, any specific denied topic you want to add, you can add it here. Or maybe any specific words you want to add, any specific file you want to provide, you can do all of this.
Suppose you have built a chat application and you want that any user search for that what can be the Sensex advice or the trading advice. That should not a good practice, not a responsible AI practice. So you can add that in as a negative statement over there. Yeah, if somebody asks something about the trading or the chat application, you should give not supported or this information not available. Similarly, if somebody is putting that how to make a bomb or something which is not ethically supported, you can put that as a comment. So that will be not be supported by any queries.
Yeah. Similarly, you can see here, for PII, I think that is of interest topic. You can add your own PII, or maybe you can use this list. For example, these are the few things we want to block right away: name, phone number, email. And this is a long list, 31 types, or maybe you can customize it as well.
So based on the EU standard, the GDPR, so we have 31 identified PIIs. So those can be two actions you can take. Either you can block them or redact them. Okay. Or otherwise, if you think that for me, the driving license plus social security number is one of the PII information, or the ticket ID. Normally ticket ID is not a PII, but if you fill that in your this data, your ticket number can be sensitive. So you can put that ticket number, regex pattern of the ticket number, and it will be redacted during the conversation between you and Bedrock.
As you can see, this
it will do detection, but post detection it has two activities. Either it will mask it or it will remove it.
Block.
So you have to choose those actions also that what you will want to do, mask it or redact it.
As you can see, so there are two options: block and mask. For any specific category of filter, you can choose, or maybe you can add your own, and you can add regex pattern here as well. Then you can do grounding check as well, like, and block everything, or you want to keep it slightly lower. Then I mean, just go ahead and simply create it. I think you'll get to know. Okay. Yeah, generally it's very straightforward. This has simplified your overall GenAI journey. Like, I think your model access must have been available by now. Yeah, one is available, so which is Claude Sonnet. So let's try that. Meanwhile, others are coming.
So for the workshop one that we are doing, only Claude 3 Sonnet is available. Apart from that, if you request anything, it will fail. Okay, yeah. So go ahead. Yeah, go ahead with Sonnet only.
Yeah. So maybe I'll select I think Anthropic and then Sonnet, and again on demand. Okay. So anything I can write here, and you can see all this temperature, top P, all of this available here. For example, I can type what is UPI. I mean, simple as you do with any chat system. You can choose what should be the length of the response. You can also add your guardrails here. So when when it is pulling up some information which is having PII, it will just remove that immediately. So you can just try all these examples once you have this working. And similarly for images also, maybe for example, I can use again. Okay, image model is anyway not available right now. Maybe for chat, there's one more thing you can try is on Anthropic Sonnet. Suppose you have an image and you want to filter out all the parameter out of that image. Maybe you can try that as well. Max file size, okay, this. Okay. So this will resonate one of the important use case as well. For example, I'm passing my checkbook and I want to know what is my account number and account name. So I'll just write a prompt. just write a prompt. I'll just pass on this image and that's it. So it is telling me, okay, it's a checkbook from State Bank of India, and it has filtered out my account name. I think. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's why the number is not coming. For name, I think, 1 second, guardrail is not in place actually. Maybe I can add that and then rerun this. I think he's not even telling me the name. So just try all of this. Maybe just get familiarized with this portal. If you have any question, let us know. The first workshop is all about getting used to of this portal, and I think if you go to this section, like what are base model available, what is chat, what is text, images, generating images through Titan, safeguarding, I think we already talked about, prompt engineering. So maybe once you are done with this, let us know. Maybe we can move into second workshop. I think you had a question on pricing. Some of you, right, you had a right. On pricing, if you see for Sonnet, for 1,000 tokens, you will be charged this much. So you can imagine for $1 million, it will be $3 for input token. So means when you are trying, so this is the cost you need to pay. So if you are trying in your own account, so you don't need to worry if you are doing it manually. Yeah, if you run some programs, it might go into number of tokens. So then you need to be careful. But generally, the cost is not that high for manual try or those things, or maybe few attempts. Like this prints how many tokens I have used actually. If you go to that section, it tells like how many input token and output token were there. Yeah, input was 1100 something and output was 92. Why 1100? Because I have given an image. Otherwise, this text is nothing. But yeah, image has more tokens. Maybe for example, meta we talked about. Okay, these are not visible to me, and in fact none of them is visible to me. So first what you need to do is you need to request the access. So you need to go to this particular section, settings, if you are going directly, and this model access, and whatever model you want to try, just enable that, or maybe enable all. Fail hoga? Okay, let's see. Yeah, because the workshop environment, sometimes we don't enable all the models, but yes, let's try. Yeah, I think these are available. Some of them might fail, as Ajit is saying, but I think now you can try this. So once they are enabled, go to chat section. Again, select the model. First, the model provider. Maybe I'll start with maybe. I think they're still not visible. 1 second. Let me see. Okay. Available to request. Oh, so grant is 0. I think we need to wait. It will take some time, or maybe we can enable specific ones. For example, I can select maybe Meta Llama. Okay, Claude. Sonnet. Okay, let's enable only Claude 3 Sonnet. But generally, when you do it in your account, AWS account, this works seamlessly. You can enable all of this. So it's in progress. Yeah. Finally, something is going on. It will take some time to come up, but maybe meanwhile you can just go through different options. So what choices you have? For example, which models are available? This section is talk about custom model, where you can do fine tuning and
all of this. And your imported models, if you have fine-tuned something, you can import in Bedrock and make it run. Then these two sections are playground, where you can try these models. Agent flows, knowledge base, prompt management are a bit advanced topics. For example, you can create certain prompts, you can use it. I think guardrails, you can create a guardrail meanwhile. For example, if I click on guardrail, I can give it a name. And so that you get to know what it is. Like you want to filter out certain harmful categories. So this hate, insult, sexual, violence, all of this can be filtered out. Prompt attack also you can, by clicking just enabling this, you can do that. And yes, any specific denied topic you want to add, you can add it here. Or maybe any specific words you want to add, any specific file you want to provide, you can do all of this.
Suppose you have built a chat application and you don't want that any user search for that what can be the Sensex advice or the trading advice. That should not a good practice, not a responsible AI practice. So you can add that in as a negative statement over there. Yeah, if somebody asks something about the trading or the chat application, you should give not supported or this information not available. Similarly, if somebody is putting that how to make a bomb or something, something which is not ethically supported, you can put that as a comment. So that will be not be supported by any queries.
Yeah. Similarly, you can see here, for PII, I think that is of interest topic. You can add your own PII, or maybe you can use this list. For example, these are the few things we want to block right away: name, phone number, email. And this is a long list, 31 types, or maybe you can customize it as well.
So based on the EU standard, the GDPR, so we have 31 identified PIIs. So those can be two actions you can take. Either you can block them or redact them. Okay. Or otherwise, if you think that for me, the driving license plus social security number is one of the PII information, or the ticket ID. Normally ticket ID is not a PII, but if you fill that in your this data, your ticket number can be sensitive. So you can put that ticket number, regex pattern of the ticket number, and it will be redacted during the conversation between you and Bedrock.
As you can see, this
it will do detection, but post detection it has two activities. Either it will mask it or it will remove it.
Block.
So you have to choose those actions also. Yeah. That what you will want to do, mask it or redact it.
As you can see, so there are two options: block and mask. For any specific category of filter, you can choose, or maybe you can add your own, and you can add regex pattern here as well. Then you can do grounding check as well, like, and block everything, or you want to keep it slightly lower. Then I mean, just go ahead and simply create it. I think you'll get to know. Okay. Yeah, generally it's very straightforward. This has simplified your overall GenAI journey. Like, I think your model access must have been available by now. Yeah, one is available, so which is Claude Sonnet. So let's try that. Meanwhile, others are coming.
So for the workshop one that we are doing, only Claude 3 Sonnet is available. Apart from that, if you request anything, it will fail. Okay, yeah. So go ahead. Yeah, go ahead with Sonnet only.
Yeah. So maybe I'll select, I think, Anthropic, and then Sonnet, and again on demand. Okay. So anything I can write here, and you can see all this temperature, top P, all of this available here. For example, I can type what is UPI. I mean, simple as you do with any chat system. You can choose what should be the length of the response. You can also add your guardrails here. So when when it is pulling up some information which is having PII, it will just remove that immediately. So you can just try all these examples once you have this working. And similarly for images also, maybe for example, I can use again. Okay, image model is anyway not available right now. Maybe for chat, there is one more thing you can try is on Anthropic Sonnet. suppose you have an image and you want to filter out all the parameter out of that image. Maybe you can try that as well. Max file size, okay, this. Okay. So this will resonate one of the important use case as well. For example, I'm passing my checkbook and I want to know what is my account number and account name. So I'll just write a prompt. I'll just write a prompt. I'll just pass on this image and that's it. So it is telling me, okay, it's a checkbook from State Bank of India, and it has filtered out my account name. I think, I'm sorry? Yeah, that's why the number is not coming. For name, I think, 1 second, guardrail is not in place actually. Maybe I can add that and then rerun this. I think he's not even telling me the name. So just try all of this. Maybe just get familiarized with this portal. If you have any question, let us know. The first workshop is all about getting used to of this portal, and I think if you go to this section, like what are base model available, what is chat, what is text, images, generating images through Titan, safeguarding, I think we already talked about, prompt engineering. So maybe once you are done with this, let us know. Maybe we can move into second workshop. I think you had a question on pricing. Some of you, right, you had a right. On pricing, if you see for Sonet, for 1,000 tokens, you will be charged this much. So you can imagine for $1 million, it will be $3 for input token. So means when you are trying, so this is the cost you need to pay. So if you are trying in your own account, so you don't need to worry if you are doing it manually. Yeah, if you run some programs, it might go into number of tokens. So then you need to be careful. But generally, the cost is not that high for manual try or those things, or maybe few attempts. Like this prints how many tokens I have used actually. If you go to that section, it tells like how many input token and output token were there. Yeah, input was 1100 something and output was 92. Why 1100? Because I have given an image. Otherwise, this text is nothing. But yeah, image has more tokens. Make sure when you are running this workshop, make sure this username is coming as this, because sometime accidentally you might be running something in your own accounts. Otherwise, just make sure this is coming as WS participant role something.